Hi, my name is Mike, and I have a superpower that I've had since birth. I have an exact copy of me. Yep, it's my brother, Dean. We're twins, and we love to use this. At school, we are the kings of gags. But at one point, we took it too far. I started dating a girl. Her name is Vicky. We met online, and she was from another school, so she didn't know that I had a brother. Great opportunity for a prank. I was supposed to meet her after school, but didn't go. Instead, I sent Dean. I think I need to clarify one thing. We're not just very similar. We are completely identical. We have the same eye color and even voice. We can only be distinguished by one small detail. I have a mole on my temple. And that's why we wear baseball caps. We approached this prank with double enthusiasm. Do you get it? Because there are two of us? We planned everything. I told them what to say and how to behave, and then I was going to suddenly find them in the park. Here it is, the moment of truth. They got ice cream, found a bench to have a seat on, and then I came up and said, "Hey, Vicky, who are you hanging out with?" She looked at me and froze. There was an awkward pause. Dean and I looked at each other and started laughing. That was an awesome prank, I thought. But at that very moment, everything changed. Vicky did not appreciate the joke. She got up with a poker face, took her bag, and left. I looked at Dean. "Go get her, dude!" After a second, I was already walking next to her. Hey, did I offend you? It's a joke. Don't you get it?" She understood the joke, but she was still offended. Vicky said that we didn't just prank her, we actually tricked her. This is how we had our first argument. I told her about our sense of humor and jokes. She told me about trust. It seems to be all right, and she forgave me. But unfortunately, she hasn't forgotten. From that moment on, she reminded me of it every chance she got. She accidentally confuses my name with Dean's. Then she specifically looks under my cap, looking for my mole. I tolerated it because I understood that it was my fault. But at some point, it turned into paranoia. She would check to see who was in front of her at every moment. The last bit of my patience was the moment we were in a cafe. I went to wash my hands, and when I came back, she began to check me all over again. The moment of the second serious conversation had come. She promised that she would trust me, only if I promised that I would never use my twin. The dust settled and everything was fine with us. Very good. I would even say doubly good, but you know, I promised. But I would not be telling you this story if that was the end of it. I was on my way to meet with Vicky, glowing with happiness, because I'd gotten tickets to our favorite band for her and I. And the best part? The tickets were to the fan zone. That means we would be as close as possible to the scene. When we met, Vicky was in such a good mood. She had just heard about her friend's birthday, basically a really cool party at her house, and we were invited. And of course, the concert and the party were on the same day. On the one hand, there was the concert of my dreams. On the other, a pretty boring party with her friends, who I don't like, and they don't like me either. But at the same time, I would make Vicky happy. This problem could easily be solved if I could be in two places at the same time. This was my superpower after all. I planned everything. It would take 2 hours, max, and no one will even know. In the evening, we went to Vicky's friend's house, and the party was just beginning. When everyone started to dance, I snuck off onto the street, and Dean took my place at the house party. I received a message from him shortly after saying, "Everything is okay." 20 minutes later, I'm standing in the fan zone. The musicians take the stage, and I just get overwhelmed with emotions. What happened after that moment at the party, I know from Dean. Everything was going perfect. Vicky was hanging out with her friends more. Dean tried not to disappear, but also stayed in sight so that Vicky wouldn't suspect anything. Oh, to be sure, after years of practice, we've learned how to portray each other perfectly. Once, I managed to pass a math test for myself, and then change clothes, and take it again and pass it for Dean. And Dean did the same thing for me with biology. But there was one small hiccup. Nobody played Twister during exams, and no one needed to stand upside down. Damn, Twister ruined everything. During the game, his cap slipped, and Vicky saw that small detail that distinguishes us. Or, more precisely, the absence of this detail. Oh my gosh, she was so angry, so I'll omit the words she spoke at that moment. But at that moment, I was having such a good time. I didn't even suspect what was happening at the party. After a couple of minutes, I felt the vibration from my phone, and I saw that I had 4 missed calls from Dean and a text that said, "Come, urgent." A minute later, I was in a taxi, and after another 10, I was near the house. Dean was standing on the road with a guilty look on his face. I realized that there was going to be trouble. By that time, Vicky was already cold, and not angry. She was just disappointed. She had a look on her face, like in the park. Her girlfriends yelled at me even more because I spoiled their party. But Vicky didn't want to talk to me at all that night. The next day, I waited for Vicky at her school. She obviously didn't want to talk to me, but I still wanted to explain. I was really sorry, and I sincerely apologized. All she said to me was, "Dean, tell Michael that no one will believe what he says anymore. Goodbye." It was an offensive joke. It was only at this moment that I realized how bad you feel when you're the victim, and how dishonest I was to her. This was enough for me to forever understand that the trust of a person is a very fragile thing. You have to not only deserve trust, but you also have to protect it. Dean and I decided that we would no longer prank people like that. It's just not fair. Having our superpowers meant that we could not only use them, but that we could also not use them. And that is what makes people heroes in the face of others. Have you ever played a practical joke that went badly? Write about it in the comments below. And also, do not forget to share this story with your friends.